Someone is still unmute. Please mute yourself. Please mute yourself. So, a very good evening. Am I visible and audible, Suparna?
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. So, a very good evening and warm welcome to all the participants, to all the members. So, I am today. I am really thankful to this team because due to the natural calamities and all the hindrance they are presenting today. So thank you all the presenter like Ankita, Anushwa, Arpita, Brishti, Chandana, and thanks to our moderator Shupana, Nandini, and Pallavi. So today we will get to learn a very interesting topic, and this is even a controversial topic, that how it has a health benefit with these things. So we know that vitamin D helps in the calcium absorption, and it is a very important vitamin, which we also call sunshine vitamin. So we will also get to know that how it helps in immunity, bone health, diabetes, and there are other many more functions. So over to Shupana. I am requesting Shupana to carry forward this presentation.
Good evening, sir. Am I visible?
Actually, we are in a different screen. Hope you are visible. Okay. You continue. Let me check.
Yes, sir. Good evening, sir. Good evening, my beloved teammates, and good evening, everyone present here today. Today, we are going to discuss about vitamin D, which is also known as the sunshine vitamin, and our team B is going to present it in every aspects, not only with the relation with immunity and bone health only. They will let you know everything you must know about vitamin D. Over to Pallavi. She will explain the teammates and which part they are going to discuss. Thank you. Please,
Thank you,
Pallavi, continue.
Suparnadi. Thank you, Suparnadi. Very good evening to all. I am Pallavi De from Bardwan. I am graduated from Bardwan University. Currently, I have just completed my MSc from West Bengal Health Science University. And last year, while lockdown, I got to know about the Cognis Nutrition through social media only. And to upgrade myself in clinical nutrition field, I choose this platform to join. And till now, I have learned a lot of practical knowledge from this platform. Um, so this course is highly helpful for me, and I'm grateful to Darshan Shomendu sir for organizing such a wonderful platform for knowledge exchanging about nutrition. I'm privileged enough to get an opportunity for being the moderator of today's session. Today, my team is going to present a very interesting topic, that is vitamin D, which is known as the sunshine vitamin. So, first of all, I would like to introduce my team members and their respective topics, which they are going to discuss. So, our team first member is Anushwa Haldar. She is from Kolkata. She is going to tell about the introduction and definition of vitamin D and dietary source RDA myths part also. And next, Chandana Das from Purulia. She will describe the history part of vitamin D and structure, chemistry, and synthesis of vitamin D. And next, Bishti Roy. She is from Purulia. She is highlighting the overall function of vitamin D. Next, Orpita Chaudhary. She is from Kolkata. She is going to tell about the deficiency of vitamin D, risk factor, and risk group, and diagnosis part also. Next, Ankita Ocha. She is from Purulia. She is she will be discuss the treatment, doses, and toxicity of vitamin D. And finally, again, Bishti Roy concluded the summary portion. So, all the best to all my participants and team members. Without wasting too much time, I would like to request Anushwa Haldar to start the presentation. So, thank you again. Anushwa, please continue.
Yes, thank you very much. সুপর্ণাদি প্রেজেন্টেশনটা একটু করো।
হ্যাঁ বলো।
Yes, the presentation is on the
Presentation-টা
screen.
শেয়ার করো।
Presentation is shared. It is in front of you. You just pin on the screen.
Yes, there are diet spectrum you can see which is mute. So you can pin that and you will
তুমি দেখো
see the
মিউট করো সুপর্ণা, আমি বলছি। হ্যাঁ অনুসুয়া শুনতে পাচ্ছ?
Yes sir.
সুপর্ণা এখন তোমার স্ক্রিনটা দেখা যাচ্ছে না। Yes. No. Again go. It is okay. If you cannot see the screen who is presenting first, then you can start your presenting from your mobile. I think the PPT is in your mobile.
Sir, is it visible now?
Yes, it is perfectly visible. যে ফার্স্ট করছো কে আছো?
অনুসুয়া।
হ্যাঁ অনুসুয়া, তুমি দেখো এই সাইডে পিন স্ক্রিন করো, প্রেজেন্টার স্ক্রিন করো। তুমি কি দেখতে পাচ্ছ?
হ্যালো স্যার, শুনতে পাচ্ছেন? হ্যালো হ্যালো, শুনতে পাচ্ছেন? কিছু কি বললেন স্যার? আমি শুনতে পেলাম না।
বলেন যে তুমি প্রেজেন্টেশন এখন দেখতে পাচ্ছো?
হ্যাঁ, এই এখন দেখতে পেলাম।
এইটাকে পিন করে রাখো। এটা পর
তোমার you on your video also and start.
All the very best.
Thank you. Hello everyone. Good evening sir, good evening everyone. I am Anushwa Haldar from Kolkata, currently pursuing post graduation in food and nutrition from Biharilal College, Calcutta University. So this is our cognized nutrition group. We are all learning many more things about our subject. In this way, we are upgrading ourselves. In our college days, we have learned theoretical part, but here we expose to the practical part also. So thank you sir and ma'am for providing us such a excellent learning platform and always motivating us. Thank you. So today our topic is vitamin D, the sunshine vitamin. Vitamins are essential.
Sir, after this introduction, I will change.
Continue. You please continue.
Vitamins are essential elements we need in very minute amount, but in deficiency of which our normal physiological homeostasis could not be maintained. Today, we are going to discuss about a very interesting topic, which is also known as sunshine vitamin. And scientist Funk named this nutrient vitamin in 1911. So, there are two types of vitamin. One is water soluble vitamin and another one is fat soluble. So vitamin D is a group of fat soluble corticosteroids. So what is corticosteroid? The corticosteroid is a type of steroid with a broken ring, which will be seen in the further structure slide. Corticosteroids are alternatively described as a subclass of steroids or derived from steroids. So vitamin D helps in maintaining calcium homeostasis and also help in reabsorption of magnesium and phosphate. So what is homeostasis? Now physiological homeostasis is the tendency of the body to maintain critical physiological parameters, that is blood glucose level, blood pressure, pH, core body temperature of its internal environment within specific ranges of values. The most important compounds in this group are vitamin D3 and vitamin D2. And vitamin D3 is the active form, which is 125 dihydroxycholecalciferol. And the chemical name of vitamin D2 is ergocalciferol. And its source is plant source, and vitamin D3 that comes from animal source. Next will be further described by Chandana. Over to Chandana. Thank you.
Thank you. Good evening to all. Thank you, Anushwadi, and thank you, Pallobidi, for introducing me so nicely. I am Chandana Das from Purulia. I am completed my BSc from Nistarani Women's College, Purulia, and now pursuing my MSc from Vidyasagar University. Next, we are going to discuss the history of vitamin D. How will we know about vitamin D? There is a small story behind it. In 1918, ricket disease had spread to a great extent in UK, and like this situation which we are going through now, ricket is also become a pandemic. In this high incidence of ricket, a British scientist, Sir Edward Mellanby, was very much concerned about it, and he wanted to know how it can be cured. Going to find out the answer, he was cleverly used the diet which was consumed by the high prevalent ricket patient in Scotland. Primarily, he was gave them to oatmeal to the dogs, and he kept away from sunlight to them. Then, when the dogs developed ricket, he was concluded that there is some deficiency disease. Again, heal them, Edward Millenby gave them cod liver oil. After that, McCollum was also trying to find out the substance which was healing the dogs. They knew about vitamin A and test them to know is vitamin D is responsible to cure the disease or not. Then he did bubbling oxygen into the cod liver oil to destroy the vitamin A, and then administered the oil to the patient who had xerophthalmia and ricket. But in this process, xerophthalmia was not cured, but ricket got cured. This means that ricket was not cured by vitamin A. There is something new chemical. And then the scientist concluded it by the name of vitamin D. And this is how we know about vitamin D. Please change the slide.
Shupana, are you there?
Yes, sir. Change
Yes.
course.
Yeah, only history is showing.
Sir, it may be the network issues, I guess.
Okay. So who is
Okay,
the
I will
next?
continue.
You just continue. Yeah.
Okay. After the discovery of vitamin D, we need the source. And as we know that vitamin D is two types. One is vitamin D3 and the other one is vitamin D2. D2 vitamin, which is argocalciferol, and D3, which is known as cholecalciferol. D3, which is animal origin, and the D2, which is plant origin. In the structure of vitamin D2 and D3, we can see that both the sterols.
Just a
Sir,
second.
just a moment.
Okay. Should I share? You just try. Otherwise, we will
Sir,
continue.
maybe after starting
Chandana?
the recording, my system got
Hanged.
sir.
Okay. Chandana, you continue. I am sharing the screen. Okay.
Okay, sir. Okay, sir. No problem. Yes, sir.
Is it visible?
Okay. Okay. Visible. Okay.
Yes. Okay.
And in this structure, we can see that vitamin D2 and D3 both have the like similar structure, but there is exceptional in this sterol form, which is the methyl group, which is in 24 number carbon, is additional in D2 vitamin. And there is a double bond in between 22 and 23 number of carbon. Next, the precursor molecule of vitamin D are 7-dehydroxycholesterol from animal origin and the ergosterol from the plant origin. Then we have to know the synthesis of vitamin D, how it can be consumed in our body. In our body, there are three metabolites of vitamin D. The first one is 24-dihydroxycholecalciferol, which binding with vitamin D binding globulin by transported in the blood. Next one is 24-25-dihydroxycholecalciferol, which is synthesized in kidney by 24-hydroxycholecalciferol. And then the third one is 1,25-dihydroxycholecalciferol, which is the active form of vitamin D3 and also known as calciferol. Vitamin D is also known as prohormone because it can be produced in our body in adequate amount. It is released in the blood directly and it acts on a distant target tissue. For this three reasons, we called vitamin D as a prohormone. Sir, please change the slide.
Actually, Suparna is presenting.
Okay.
Suparna, are you there? Suparna, there is a network problem, Chandana.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. There is a network issues, I guess.
Then I will continue.
Yeah, you continue. Otherwise, I will present if Suparna allows me. Suparna, leave it. Let me. Acha, you try
Yes, sir.
once. Otherwise, I will do because if we
I have
interrupt.
lost my network in the
Okay,
certain scene.
okay, stop it. Let me present. Otherwise,
Okay, sir.
the
Okay, sir.
interruption will totally disturb the program.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Chandana, just let me know when the presentation will come in the screen, okay?
Okay, sir. Okay, sir.
And ask me about the slide. Is it coming?
No, not actually, sir. I can't.
Okay, wait. Achha, it is showing in the screen.
Yes, sir.
Chandana,
Yes,
just
sir.
check. Tell me the slide number. This one? Chemistry and metabolism.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, continue.
Chemistry and metabolism is completed, sir. Synthesis portion.
You continue with the synthesis.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you continue.
Yes. Okay. When our skin is exposed to sunlight, it makes vitamin D from cholesterol biosynthesis, which produced an intermediate product known as 7-dehydroxycholesterol. This 7-dehydrocholesterol then converted into cholecalciferol in epidermis of the skin. This cholecalciferol further going to liver and produce 25-hydroxyvitamin D3 and converted 1,25-dihydroxyvitamin D3, which is the active form of vitamin D3 into kidney. And then it's maintain the calcium balance in the body. During the exposure to sunlight, it takes 2 to 3 days to synthesize in our body. Now the question is, in which time we can absorb adequate amount of vitamin D? The time in between 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. because in that
Please note
time,
this. Everyone, please note this. It is an important point. Yeah.
yes, because as the sun as its highest point and the UV ray also present at this time adequately, which is very much important for the absorption of the sunlight. In that moment, who have darker skin have more melanin. I think everyone is know about melanin. That is a pigment which determine our skin color. They consume less vitamin than the lighter skin people because this pigment adversely influence the synthesis of cholecalciferol. It acts as a natural sunscreen because it protect the skin against sunburn and skin cancer, etc. diseases. And that's why research shows that exposing hands and face in 15 minutes of sunlight 3 times in a week is adequate to absorb vitamin. But who have darker skin people may need to spend at least 30 minutes in sunlight to get this sufficient amount of vitamin D. Thank you. It will further going to be by this.
Is it for the darker screen? Is it same that is for thrice weekly?
Yes, it is same, but the time is
30
মানে
minutes,
টাইমটা একটু বেশি
obviously.
দিতে হবে, হ্যাঁ,
Obviously,
30
time to
minutes
বেশি
to
দিতে
3
হবে।
hours also, মানে যেটাতে
3 hours
কমফোর্টেবল
also.
ফিল করবে তারা, তাদেরকে সেই
Okay.
টাইমটা দিতে হবে।
Still, just I am interrupting here. Still, people have the idea that we should take the sunlight in the early morning, and the babies are also exposed because the babies' skins are very sensitive. So they are being exposed. It is okay that they are exposed in the early mornings, but still, there are people having ideas that they exposed in the sunlight in the early morning when the during the sunrise.
Early morning.
But the maximum absorption
No.
happens is it after 10
In the
a.m. or
midday.
midday, that is 11 a.m. to
11, হ্যাঁ,
3 p.m. It is
3
the
p.m.
maximum
Because the UV ray.
because of the UV ray. But you have to
Yes.
check about that also. The UV ray also sometimes is detrimental for us. So
Yes.
the exposure time should not be too long, so that
No,
it can be the if
whenever you feel uncomfortable,
uh,
and then
so
you
too
should
much
go.
exposure can lead to some kind of cancer also, skin cancer and
Toxicity.
toxicity. So this is
Yes.
the fact. So it is nicely explained, Chandana. Okay.
Thank you.
Sir, can I ask a question?
Who is this?
Priyanka here, sir.
Okay, sure.
Sir, questionটা বাংলায় করি।
Please do it in English. It will be comfortable for everyone.
Sir, actually, I have an issue with sun. I can't tolerate, मतलब ज्यादा देर तक मैं tolerate नहीं कर पाती
ज़्यादा देर you
sunlight
cannot
को।
tolerate.
हाँ, तो सर मैं क्या करूं, मतलब कितनी देर रहूं तो इज इट मैंने सेफ होगा, तो सनलाइट भी मिलेगी, विटामिन बी डी भी मिलेगी, और मतलब मेरा सर दर्द भी नहीं होगा।
Can I
So,
answer, sir?
Yeah, Chandana.
Sir, বাংলায় বলবো?
You do
I
in
can
Hindi and
understand
English.
Hindi. हाँ,
You
I
do
can
in
understand
Hindi
Hindi.
English.
If she has any problem, then she has just মানে expose your hands and feet, which will at least 10 to 15 minutes in one day. If you have no any problem,
Right,
just
Chandana.
your hands and your face will be, but সবাই মানে ফেসটা uncomfortable feel করে, so you can expose your hand and feet also.
Actually,
Okay,
আমার face আর
whenever you
মাথাটাতেই
feel uncomfortable,
No need to. Chandana has never said to expose the
then you
face
can
or neck. Chandana was telling in the presentation to
हाँ.
expose the feet and hand, and which you can sitting in your balcony also. You can in a chair. You can sit in the balcony and you can
Yes,
expose
yes.
it.
Exactly.
Your hand and feet. So as there is a natural calamity, we should not take the question right now. We will take at the end. So let the presentation
Sorry, sir,
continue.
and thank you.
No, it's okay. Thank you for the question also. Okay.
Thank you.
It will be further continued by Brishti Roy. Thank you.
Thank you, Chandana. First of all, good evening, everyone. My name is Brishti Roy, and I am from Purulia. Currently, I am pursuing my post-graduation in food science and nutrition from Midnapur City College. I joined Cognize Nutrition last year, and this is a great learning platform for students like us. And I just want to thank Shomendu sir and all the faculty members for creating such a learning platform where we can brush up our knowledge and got to learn about so many new topics about nutrition. So now moving on to the slides. So can you change the slides?
Yes.
So I'll be discuss.
Is it it is not changing, right?
Yes, sir. It is
No, sir.
previous slide.
No, sir.
Again, I have to stop sharing and do the needful. Okay, just wait.
Sir, should I share?
Yes. No, it is okay. This is right now happening. Otherwise, there was no problem. Brishti, let me know when the slide will come.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Sir,
it is already there. Okay.
So today I'll be discussing about the functions of vitamin D. Vitamin D has various roles in human health, but today we will mainly focus on three functions, which are role of vitamin D in calcium homeostasis and bone health, role in immune system, and diabetes. So So next slide, please. So role of vitamin D in calcium homeostasis and bone health. We all know that vitamin D is commonly absorbed from the food or produced in the skin in the form of cholecalciferol or vitamin D3. Now, this form of vitamin D3 is not the active form that we require adequately for calcium absorption. Calcium requires calcitriol for adequate absorption and utilization. Chandana has described previously that how cholecalciferol is converted into calcitriol, so I am not going on that. Now, why this calcitriol is required for adequate absorption of calcium? In the second picture, when we look an enterocyte in the small intestine, on the left, we can see intestinal lumen. So when we absorb or ingest some calcium in the diet, the basic process of calcium absorption goes like, at first, calcium is brought into the enterocyte through a calcium transporter. Then it binds to a protein which is present in the cytosol, which is known as calbindin D. This calbindin D allows the calcium to be transported through the enterocyte and to the opposite side of the enterocyte, so that it can be pumped out of the enterocyte into the bloodstream via an ATP-dependent calcium pump. Now the question is why this calcitriol is so important in this process. When calcitriol enters the enterocyte, it actually binds to a protein which is known as VDR or vitamin D receptor. This receptor is actually a transcription factor. So when calcitriol binds to this vitamin D receptor, the calcitriol will enter the nucleus, which where it will activate a genetic program. This genetic program will actually increase the expression of the transcription, translation, and the expression of calcium transporter. So that allows the enterocyte to uptake more calcium. It will also increase the expression of calbindin D. So it will increase the amount of calbindin D within the cytosol, and it will also increase the activity of the ATP-dependent calcium pumps, which will allow the enterocyte to pump out more calcium into the bloodstream. So this whole process will increase the uptake of calcium into the enterocyte and allow more calcium to be uptaken or absorbed in the bloodstream. In this way, vitamin D regulates blood calcium levels by improving the intestinal absorption of calcium and minimizing its elimination in the urine. Now, vitamin D results in a low absorption of calcium and elevated concentration of PTH or parathyroid hormone. This is a hormone which acts to increase blood calcium by releasing calcium from the bones, which result in loss of bone mass and weakens the bone. So adequate vitamin D intake decreases the bone loss by reducing the secretion of parathyroid hormone and prevent excessive bone remodeling. Next slide, please. So now coming to the role of vitamin D in immune system. Vitamin D has numerous effects on cell within the immune system. It inhibits the beta cell proliferation and block beta cell differentiation and immunoglobulin secretion. Vitamin D additionally suppress the T cell proliferation and result in a shift from a T helper cell Th1 to Th2 phenotype. It also affects the T cell maturation with a skewing away from the inflammatory Th17 phenotype, and it facilitates the induction of the T regulatory cells. And these effects, all these effects result in decreased production of inflammatory cytokines, which are interleukin 17 and interleukin 21, with increased production of anti-inflammatory cytokines such as interleukin 10. Now, vitamin D has effects on monocytes and dendritic cells also. it inhibits monocyte production of inflammatory cytokines such as IL-1, IL-6, IL-8, IL-12, or TNF-alpha. According to various studies, vitamin D lowers the risk of contracting infections in the lungs, both from viruses and bacterial organisms. It speeds up immune response so that our body can destroy the infections before they spread through the cells. So studies show that taking a vitamin D supplementation daily in the winter can reduce the risk of getting infected by 70%. It helps our body to absorb important minerals like calcium, zinc, phosphate, which all strengthen our immune system. This process helps to activate T cells in the immune system, which attack and destroy viruses before they can replicate. And if you have an existing respiratory illness such as cold, flu, coronavirus, asthma, bronchitis, then getting adequate vitamin D can help in this. And vitamin D helps the body to make anti-inflammatory hormones like cortisols that speed up healing process through the body. Next slide, please. So now the role of vitamin D in diabetes. In case of type 1 diabetes, vitamin D downregulates antigen presentation and expression of co-stimulatory molecule by dendritic cell, and thus inhibiting the production of pro-inflammatory cytokines. It also promotes the induction of regulatory T lymphocytes and the production of anti-inflammatory cytokines, that is IL-4 or interleukin-4. It also prevents beta cell damage caused by pro-inflammatory cytokines such as interleukin-1 beta and IFN gamma by inhibiting the synthesis of inflammatory cytokines. And in case of type 2 diabetes, vitamin D has effect on insulin secretion. So the presence of VDR or vitamin D receptor in the pancreatic beta cell and the expression of 125 hydroxylase enzyme in pancreatic beta cell suggest a role of vitamin D in insulin secretion. Alteration in calcium flux can have adverse effect on insulin secretion, which is a calcium dependent process. It improves insulin secretion and glucose tolerance through regulation of calcium levels, and it may induce the insulin secretion indirectly by increasing the intracellular calcium concentration. And subsequently, it may mediate the activation of calcium dependent endopeptides, which facilitate the conversion of pro-insulin to insulin. Now, vitamin D has also effects on insulin action. So vitamin D mediates the transcriptional activation of human insulin gene and also stimulates the expression of insulin receptors, thereby enhancing insulin responsiveness for glucose transport. It may have a beneficial effect on insulin action indirectly via its role in regulating extracellular calcium level, as calcium is essential for insulin mediated process in insulin responsive tissues. It may improve insulin sensitivity and promote beta cell survival by modulating the effect of cytokines. It can downregulate the activation of NF-kappa B, which is an important regulator of gene encoding pro-inflammatory cytokines implicated in insulin resistance. So further will be continued by Orpita.
Before we continue, I have a question. If anybody have any doubt, as this is not familiar with each and every one of you, how it is helping in diabetes, and there are many studies still going on. The research are still going on the vitamin D. So very interesting thing highlighted by Brishti about that the winter season and also during the monsoon rainy season, how vitamin D can protect you from infections. So it is very important that you can suggest to your patient. Not only we always say about antioxidant and vitamin C, but during COVID you came to know that the guideline is also about vitamin D. So vitamin D, how it is important in immunity. Second is vitamin D and diabetes. Anyone wants to ask anything regarding these slides? कैसे हो रहा है विटामिन डी, स्पेशली द सेकेंड पैराग्राफ इफेक्ट ऑन टाइप 2 डीएम. किसी को अगर कोई क्वेश्चन है, नहीं समझ में आया है, you cannot understand, তোমরা বুঝতে পারোনি, so you can ask now also. Because vitamin D, you can see that improves the insulin sensitivity and promote beta cell survival. So what happens in type 2 diabetes, that we need to improve the beta cell survival, and which is done by the vitamin D, and increasing the insulin sensitivity even in the patient of PCOS, which we learn shortly in our class. So that also, in that patients also, Brishti, you will agree with me that vitamin D may help in the insulin sensitivity, and which actually is modulating the effect of cytokines. So very good. Okay, we are moving. We are now not taking any question right now. We'll have a short discussion after the presentation.
Okay. So further will be continued by Orpita Di.
Orpita is there online?
Yes, sir. It will be continued by Anushwa actually.
Anushwa, okay, okay, continue.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Brishti. She has explained very well. Now I am discussing. Please change the slide. Okay. Now I am discussing about the dietary sources and myths about vitamin D. Hello, am I audible?
Yes, perfectly audible.
You are audible.
সুপর্ণাদি, স্লাইডটা আমি আসলে ভুল করে চেঞ্জ করতে বলেছিলাম, তো প্রিভিয়াস স্লাইডটাই থাকুক, যেহেতু এই কোয়েশ্চেনের ব্যাপারটা রয়েছে।
Yes.
We all know that sunshine is the best source of vitamin D. Can anyone unmute and say that what are the dietary source of vitamin, means from which food we get vitamin D? Anyone can say this.
Milk. Hello. Priyanka
yes.
here. Milk.
Yes.
Milk and milk-based products.
Anything else?
সামুদ্রিক মাছ, মানে ওই যেগুলো সি ফিশ যেগুলো হয়।
Yes, Vida. Pallavi,
Can
say.
you name the fish?
Mushrooms.
No.
Yes.
What fish? Which marine fish?
Which marine?
Cod fish.
Cod fish, right? Exactly. It is cod fish. Yes.
Yes.
Anyone? Vidha was telling something. Egg yolk. Yes.
I was telling mushrooms.
Tell your name and tell the answer.
Hello, Vida here. Mushroom I was telling.
And organ meat also, like liver
Yes.
and egg yolk, so I said.
So as the supplements are costly, sometimes to the low economic patient, you can give egg yolk or the organ meat. So they can at least purchase these things and they can have. So other than the natural source of sunlight, you need to know what are the natural source or dietary source of vitamin D. It is very important.
Yes.
So we need
Thank
to know
you.
this. So after this, the effect on diabetes and immunity, so we are moving to the dietary source, right?
Yes, sir.
So
Thank you, everyone.
Should I change the slide?
Yes, sir. Please change the slide. So now I am discussing about the dietary sources and myths about vitamin D. What are the sources? Oily fish such as salmon, mackerel, sardines, etc., cod liver oil, egg yolk, mushroom, canned tuna, beef liver, shrimps, fortified milk, fortified cereals, fortified fruit juices, etc. So, fortified milk for Food Safety and Standards Authority of India (FSSAI) has mandated the fortification of milk with vitamin D. Fortified milk can be given to children. We all know about the fortification. That fortification is a process by which the nutrient like vitamin A, D, riboflavin is added to our desired amount. So now I will come to the next point about myths. Myths about vitamin D. There have some myths. There have some myths about vitamin D. First one is the more vitamin D you get, the better result will come. No, this is not right because our body produces required amount of vitamin D if the vitamin D status maintained properly. If less is produced, then deficiency will occur and overproduction leads to toxicity. So it's a myth. Next one is getting out in early morning sun helps to produce vitamin D. Usually 290 to 315 nanometer ultraviolet rays of sunlight, which helps in producing vitamin D, which initiate the conversion of 7D hydrocholesterol to 125D hydroxy cholecalciferol, is available from 10 a.m. till 3 p.m. So it's totally a myth that getting out in early morning sun helps to produce vitamin. It's totally wrong. Okay. The next point is it's easy to get enough vitamin D through food alone. No, sunshine is the best source of vitamin D. So vitamin D is not only get through vitamin alone. Okay, so next point is all adult women need the same amount of vitamin D. Actually, vitamin D requirement depends upon individual's height, weight, physiological conditions. So it varies individual to individual. So it's not possible that all adult women need the same amount of vitamin. Next point is excess sun exposure
Hello.
leads to yes, bolo.
Another point for the women, like in their lifestyle, in their lifetime, during pregnancy, during lactation, also the vitamin D requirement changes, right?
Yes.
So all adult women doesn't need the same amount of vitamin. That is also.
I missed it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Continue.
So next point is excess sun exposure leads to vitamin D toxicity. Same point. That body produces the required amount, what the body needs. So excess sun, the point is not right that excess sun exposure leads to vitamin D toxicity. Next point is vitamin D supplements lead in weight loss. Usually vitamin D receptor present in adipocyte cells and helps in reducing body weight by fat mobilization or by modulating the enzymes which help in fatty acid oxidation. So this is a possible way out and further research is in progress. So if adequate vitamin D status is maintained, it will help for reducing the body weight. So food supplements leads to losing the body weight. It's not correct at all. Please change the slide. So this is the sources. I have explained this already. Next slide, please. So our next topic is recommended daily intake of vitamin D. Here RDI chart is given and the source is RDA recommended daily allowance ICMR 2020. So here vitamin D requirement of different age groups is given here. It will be further described by Brishti Roy. Over to Brishti. Hello, am I audible? Hello?
Yes, please continue. Should I change the slide?
Yes, sir. It will be further discussed by Brishti Roy.
Sure. Vrishti is
I
audible.
no, I think it's by
No,
Urpita.
it will be continued by Orpita Chaudhary.
Oh,
Okay, there is
sorry,
a there is
Orpita.
a okay,
Hmm.
okay, no
Over
issues.
to Orpita.
Thank you, Anusha, for handing over. First of all, good evening to all. Good evening, sir, ma'am. I'm Urpita Chaudhary from Kolkata. I have recently completed my MSc from KPC Medical College and Hospital. First of all, thank you, ma'am and sir, for creating such a valuable and informative platform for us. We are learning about new topics every day. Also, thank you to our moderators for helping us with the topic and my group mates too. Now, I am going to discuss about sign and symptoms of vitamin D deficiency. Although there are many sign and symptoms of vitamin D deficiency, the two most severe deficiency sign and symptoms of vitamin D deficiency are osteomalacia and rickets. Rickets generally happens in children due to deficiency of vitamin D, which leads to weakening of bone and deformities too. And in adults, deficiency of vitamin D leads to osteomalacia. So, their lack of vitamin D results in low absorption of calcium, which leads to weakening of bone. And apart from this, there are many other signs and symptoms of vitamin D deficiency. Can any one of you tell me what are the signs and symptoms of vitamin D deficiency?
Rickets.
Hello?
Fatigue, osteoporosis.
Rickets, I have already mentioned. Yes.
I want
And
to
any
ask
other?
something to the audience.
Spondylitis, osteomalacia.
Osteomalacia, I
Anyone
have
from
already
the
mentioned, and rickets too, I have mentioned.
I want to ask the audience if anyone can tell me what are the symptoms in osteomalacia? Anyone?
Calcium
Yes,
content of
hello.
bone
Yes,
reduces.
Rita.
Calcium content of bone reduces.
Yes. And other symptoms are also there. Anything else?
Bone becomes soft and weak.
Yes. Bones become
Bone
fragile.
pain,
That's yes.
muscle
Who is that?
weakness, Boysen.
Increased frequency of
Muscle
fractures.
Yes. Both of you are right. Muscle weakness, muscle cramp, back pains, tenderness in the bones and joints, all are the signs of osteomalacia. Thank you,
Yes.
Vaishali,
So,
Vida,
and
there was yes,
Hello.
yes,
yes,
Blood coagulation.
yes. That is also a symptom of vitamin D and calcium deficiency in general. Okay, there are many other symptoms.
yes. Other
Please continue.
there are also many other symptoms like psoriasis, mood swings, digestive problems, tiredness, obesity, etc. Sir, next slide, please. Now I am going to discuss about risk factors and these groups of vitamin D, uh, vitamin D. Who first of all, the older adults, older people, because they are going outside, they are going outside less, so they have a risk problem. And dark skin person, which Chandana had already mentioned, because their skin pigment consists of melanin and which are protecting them from ultraviolet radiation. And also people who are staying away from the equator. And you can see the recent condition too. Due to this pandemic, people are doing work from home, and also children are not going outside. because of that also they are going out less and not getting sun sun rays. So this is also a big problem today. And also people who are following vegan diet, they are not consuming any animal product.
Hello, Orpita, are you there?
So they are also in risk. Uh, yes, sir.
Orpita,
Hello.
you want to add one point in your just topic that you are telling that the people who are aged person who are not going outside, right?
Yes, yes, sir.
And also the
Yes, sir.
person who have the dark complexions due to melanin have this
Yes,
deficiency, but it
yes.
is for all that nowadays it is very common to the young personalities,
Yes, sir. Yes,
especially those who are working in the corporate offices. They are going into the office, sitting
yes.
in the
They are
office
working from
from
home.
morning to evening and not being exposed to sunlight. The many patients coming to me which are in the age group of 25 to 30, and male and female both patients, they have severe vitamin D deficiencies. Even the injections are required to give these patients, and they have severe muscle
Mhm.
cramps, they have severe back pains. So they think that because of the posture defect, they are sitting in the office, they are having this back pain or all these things, but this is actually due to the vitamin D deficiency. And when it is being diagnosed, we have
Yes,
seen
sir.
that it is a severe diagnosis. So just I have added a point
And
in your.
the and sir, yes, sir. And this pandemic situation, to people are working from home, and children are doing their online classes also. They are not going out now.
Yes, this is a very important thing. So these are the points what Arpita is saying to all that those who are a practicing dietitian, you need to aware your patient about these important points. This is a very important point which need to be highlighted by the dietitians only. Even the doctors sometimes misses this point. So vitamin D is a very important fat soluble nutrient which need to be addressed during our counseling. Okay. Okay, continue, Arpita. Thank you.
Also, people who are suffering from liver and kidney diseases, actually injured kidneys and livers are not able to convert vitamin D into its active form. So it is also a big problem. Uh, Sir, next slide.
Yes, I'm changing. 1 minute just. Yes, is this one?
No, sir. Next one.
Not this one?
Diagnosis. Yes, sir. This one.
Yes.
This one. Diagnosis and evolution of vitamin D status. Actually, vitamin D3 status is assessed by the as present of 25 hydroxy level serum level in plasma. If D3 status is severely deficiency, if it is less than, if the serum level is less than 10 nanogram per milliliters, then injection of vitamin D3 is needed. And if it is less than or equal to or 10 to 20 nanogram per milliliter, it is deficiency. Then for that, orally vitamin D3 is needed. And if it is 20 to 29 nanogram per milliliter, it is very insufficient. So for that also, oral vitamin D3 should be given orally. And if it is so no other supplement needed. And if it is 60 nanogram per milliliter, it is safe, and no supplement is not needed. Nanogram per milliliter, then it is highly toxic. So we should withdraw dietary vitamin D also. Next slide, that is about treatment for vitamin D deficiency will be be discussed by Ankita Oja, my other group mate. Thank you.
Hello, am I visible and audible?
Yeah.
Mm.
You are.
Thank you, Orpita Di, for handovering. Hello, respected sir, madam, and everyone present here. I am Ankita Oja from Purulia, and I am graduated from Nistarani Women's College, Purulia, and now I am pursuing my post graduation on food science and nutrition from Midnapur City College. And I am also a student of this MNT course, and I am learning too much about the practical field of nutrition and from this course, and so I am very thankful to sir and ma'am for organizing such a platform for us. And now I am going to describe the treatment of vitamin D deficiency. So, as a treatment for vitamin D deficiency, we can give cod or shark liver oil because it is one of the most important natural vitamin D source. And we can use this oil by mixing it with our cooking oil. And for rickets and osteomalacia, 50 to 125 micrograms of cholecalciferol are given daily by mouth. And the amount of vitamin D is also very much required to prevent rickets in infants and children, and that will depend upon their diets and exposure to sunlight. And we all have seen that parents give a oil massage to their baby and keep the baby outside the room where sun rays fallen apart, and by this way it helps the baby to absorb the vitamin D from sun rays. And next I'm going to describe the doses. Next slide, please. So for those cases where vitamin D requirement is not met because of insufficient exposure to sunlight because of some genetic or metabolic reason, then therapeutic supplementation of vitamin D is needed. According to ICMR, 400 international unit is needed for people below 70 years of age and 800 international unit for individual needed for people who is 70-year-old or more. And for deficient children, 60,000 international unit weekly recommended for 8 weeks, and then some vitamin D levels are evaluated and then decision is made if monthly dose of 60,000 international unit of vitamin D will be given for 6 months or 12 months. But doctor will decide the dose and also decide the if this is given by orally or by injection. But, dear people, there is also a danger because of the high doses of vitamin D. Next slide, please. And it is seen that high dose of vitamin D, high dose of vitamin D, that is cause some toxicity in our body, and it is seen that people with more than 150 ng per ml of serum vitamin D level are considered as vitamin D toxicity, and this vitamin D toxicity can cause various serious illnesses in our body, and one of the main toxicity is hypercalcemia. That means excessive calcium accumulation in the blood, and there are various signs and symptoms of this, that is bone pain, arrhythmias, cardiac arrest, kidney stones, muscle weakness, excessive urination. Some reports state that vitamin D toxicity also can occur due to over fortification of vitamin D in milk. And some reports also state that due to food manufacturing default of vitamin D, intoxication is also occur in the foodstuffs with vitamin D. And except all these, there is also some gastrointestinal symptoms of vitamin D toxicity, that is constipation, anorexia, abdominal pain, nausea, loss of appetite, failure to thrive, weight loss. Next slide, please. And some cardiovascular manifestations of vitamin D toxicity also occur, that is hypertension, bradyarrhythmias, that means less than 60 beats per minute ventricular rate. And also some renal symptoms can also occur including hypercalciuria, nephrocalcinosis. So can anyone tell me what is nephrocalcinosis and what is hypercalciuria? Can anyone?
Kindly unmute and give the answer. This answer also new to us.
Hypercalciuria. Hello.
Yes.
Hypercalciuria, calcium in urine.
Uh,
In this. Hello. Hypercalciuria is
yes, yes.
increased calcium in blood.
No, hypercalciuria means the elevated calcium in the urine, not in the blood.
Cal means calcium, hyper means high. So from the
Yes.
term you can just give the answer.
And
Second is also
calcium in urine.
what is nephrocalcinosis?
It's in kidney.
Yes, yes. Too much calcium deposition in the kidney.
Very
Thank
good.
you.
Very good, Pallavi. Thank you.
And also some renal failure can also occur. And other symptoms of this vitamin D toxicity are keratopathy. You can see the condition of keratopathy.
You
So
are
can
telling
anyone
about
tell me what is keratopathy?
this you are telling about the overdosing of vitamin D, right?
Yes.
Okay. So you are telling
Can
one thing in the previous slide, I think. So you are telling that toxicity in the vitamin D can lead to calcium deposition in the blood, right?
yes.
Excess calcium in the blood. So as we know that calcium absorption is vitamin D helps in the calcium absorption. So if vitamin D is deficient, then sometimes it is also shown excess of calcium in the blood because calcium is not being absorbed because of the deficiency of vitamin D. So, but if it is toxicity, that is dose is high, overdosing of vitamin D, so how can the calcium absorption, calcium is serum calcium level is showing high? This is to clear it out. জাস্ট আমি বলতে চাইছি যে ভিটামিন ডি ডেফিসিয়েন্সি হলে ক্যালসিয়াম গুলো অ্যাবজর্ব হবে না, ব্লাডেই দেখাবে।
Yes.
সো সেম যদি আমার তুমি বলছো ভিটামিন টক্সিসিটিতে একটা লাইন বললে মেবি আই হার্ড আই হ্যাভ নট ক্লিয়ারলি হার্ড অর হোয়াট এভার, সো ক্যান ইউ প্লিজ ক্লিয়ার দ্যাট ডাউট?
Hypercalcemia is one of the main symptoms of toxicity that leads to calcium accumulation in the blood, and other symptoms is also occur.
Okay, okay, continue. I will tell it that at the end. Okay.
Sir, actually, hypercalcemia is the main symptoms of vitamin D toxicity, and if calcium is suddenly risen in the blood, it will cause deposition in like arteries and kidneys because our kidney will try to flush out the excess calcium. That can then lead to the complications. And there are
Yes.
also other complications like nausea, vomiting symptoms, and hair fall. Some skin irritation may also occur.
Yes.
Weaknesses, frequent urination. Yes.
Okay, so you can continue.
Yeah, so some other symptoms include keratopathy. So can anyone tell me what is keratopathy?
Okay, you continue.
Keratopathy is the corneal degeneration that is characterized by subepithelial calcium deposition. You can see in this picture the condition of the keratopathy. And yes, this is the condition of the keratopathy. And hearing loss and hair loss is also can occur. And if we allow the hypercalcemia in our body, then it can cause kidney stone, atherosclerosis, calcinosis. We can see the calcinosis condition in this picture. Can anyone tell me what is the calcinosis or what happened in the calcinosis? Anyone?
এটা দেখে কি মনে হচ্ছে? This picture
The finger is swelled up and there are white patches.
What can be white patches, Pritha?
Calcium deposition maybe.
Yes, absolutely. That is the calcium deposition in the soft tissues. That means calcinosis. Okay, thank you.
Actually, these are the symptoms if the hypervitaminosis and hypercalcemia is not treated at prompt, then this may occur on long-term persistence.
Yes, these are the long-term complications. These are not so much
Instant.
seen. Yes. Okay.
Yes, and ultimately excessive toxicity can cause death. But don't panic. All these symptoms go away as soon as all dietary sources and supplementation of vitamin D are withdrawn. And okay, and further the summary will be continued by Brishti. Thank you.
So as said by you, that it is in the hand of the nutritionist to aware the patients, and we can get rid of these problems.
Yes.
So you nutritionist or the dietitian have a major role in the society to contribute. Okay, so without any time, wasting time, we will go to Brishti. Otherwise, we will find Brishti as a lady with the lamp. So Brishti is going darker and darker right now.
Sir.
Okay.
Sir, Boishali.
So we take this later. Please continue. Boishali, please ask the question at the end.
Sir, it is not clear to me that how hypercalcemia occur because toxicity.
Because many people they are having load shedding, but still the presenter are continuing. So Boishali, if we get time at the end, we will take your question.
Okay.
Okay, Brishti.
So Brishti.
Yes.
Crucial in our allergy and bone health.
Brishti, requesting you to switch off your video. Maybe
so
then
of source.
Because too much voice is breaking, so you can just switch off your video. Let's check if it is okay. Otherwise, some other people will continue with this slide. I can understand the condition at your place. So, yes, continue, Brishti.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, now it is clear. Yes.
Okay. So through the presentation, we can see that vitamin D is crucial for maintaining our normal physiology and our health, like calcium homeostasis, bone health, immune health, etc. So natural sources of vitamin D is the safest source and adequate also. So exposure to sunlight at least for continuous 15 minutes from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. Is in a cloud-free day 3 times a week is necessary for vitamin D synthesis. Now Suparnadi will continue further and conclude the session.
Thanks to all the team members. Good evening, sir and ma'am, everyone. I'm Nandini Das.
These are the references.
Yeah. This is the reference. Hello, I'm audible?
Yes, you are audible.
Is it possible to switch on your video? Can you switch on your video?
It's not possible for
Nandini. Okay, you continue.
Okay, thank you. Good evening, sir, ma'am. I did my MSc in Food and Nutrition from University of Gorbongo, and currently I'm working as an intern in Nutia Gatewell Healthcare. Firstly, I would like to thank Cognize Group for helping me a lot. I have learned many new things which I am applying in my practical field. And I would also like to thank my Cognize faculty group, and a special thanks to Somendu sir and Ananya ma'am for conducting such a beautiful session for us and giving us the opportunity to present such an interesting topic in front of you all. That's all. So our team topic is regarding vitamin D. If you have any queries, then please feel free to ask, and it would be grateful if you all vote for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Nandini. So we are open for questions now, and we will take first Baishali's question.
Sir, I want to know that how hypercalcemia occurs when excessive vitamin D in blood. That I want to know.
Shupana, please take the question. You can switch on your video. You can talk.
Just a moment.
One second, please. She need to repeat the question.
Yes, sir. Because
Yeah,
of
Baishali,
network issues,
please.
the voice.
Please repeat your question.
How hypercalcemia occur when excessive vitamin D in blood? So I want to know that how it occurs, because excessive vitamin D means it absorbs calcium. So how
Yes, it absorbs
hypercalcium?
calcium, and the vitamin D binding protein fail to your bone is in limitation, right? If you get more vitamin D, more calcium in your blood, that doesn't mean your bone uses all of the calcium. So your blood calcium level increases. That will lead to hypercalcemia. Not in every case, but if you got any high dose of vitamin D actually, if you get vitamin D supplementation, you get calcium supplementation also. That causes the hypercalcemia in blood. So that will lead to the further complications if it is not treated. And if it is treated promptly, then it will not cause any harm.
Okay.
Okay, thank you,
It is good.
Shupana.
Thank you.
So if Ananya ma'am is there, you can share your feedback about the presentations and the technicality, if you are there.
Yes, sure. Overall, it was definitely nice. Last time also we had a topic on this, and a very important topic, I must say, for anyone, for people with nutrition background or from people from any field. A lot of things to know, very well coordinated, which I found the flow was very nice. It felt like a teamwork. So the flow was very nice. Definitely PPT, nothing to say about that. Very perfect use of text and pictures, balanced, very
Very
balanced.
soothing, very eye soothing, and especially I will give the feedback later on. So there are few slides which are very attractive, very eye soothing, and very who have designed this overall total thing? Shupana.
Ankita and Anushwa.
Yes.
Okay. Anushwa and Anushwa, it is
Thank you,
very
sir.
very
Thank you,
nice.
And everyone
Thank you,
contributed
sir.
in modulation.
Okay. No, obviously everyone's contribution is there. Yes, Ananya.
Yes, I feel it's a teamwork. So everybody has some contribution in every part. And definitely the teamwork seems well over here. Very when one after one people are speaking, so that coordination, that link is very nice, which I feel. Apart from that, the critical analysis of each and every people that we will discuss in our communication classes. But overall, we will.
Yes,
I found
critical
it
analysis will be tell you
Yeah.
your feedback.
Yes.
To all of you, Brishti, Chandana,
Yes.
everyone,
I have noted down that overall it was very nice. Very small improvements maybe are required. Very small
There are
improvements.
small improvement required that ma'am will share with you about your talking, about your transition, about your slide changing, your discussion, your voice ups and downs, modulation, everything ma'am will take that criticality. And just I want to say everyone is fantastic. Especially I want to say about Chandana. She was talking very good. Ankita Oja was she was telling her deliberations, her way of talking, her pause, everything was very good. So and each and every everyone, each one. Brishti I find very good in this huddle condition. When Brishti text me in the evening, just 1 hour before the presentation, I was thinking that I will not be able to conduct today's program, but it was so smooth with the help of all of you and all the moderators. Even Pallavi was now bedridden. Pallavi was so severely ill that we couldn't think that Pallavi can able to speak. Thank you, Pallavi. Thank you,
Yes.
Nandini. Thank you, Shupana, for giving your time.
And I remember Pallavi used to be very nervous, and she won't in my last
She felt very
class.
shy.
She was very shy and nervous, but I found her very well. A lot of improvement, speaking quite clearly in a very
Pallavi gave a nice introduction also.
nice.
Nandini has given a nice vote of thanks, and overall Suparna has coordinated as always. Suparna has coordinated nicely with a smiling face. So thanks to each one of you. Little technicality we'll talk. Any more question you have? Otherwise we'll close the session for today. So and the last message I want to give, that any supplement whenever the patient is taking, ask your patient. If you are a dietitian who is practicing from a long time and you have that sincere like you have that experience, then obviously you can give the supplements. For in case of that is B complex vitamin, there is no risk, but B complex or C vitamin, which are water soluble vitamin, there is no risk. But when you are recommending to some patient that is fat soluble vitamins A, D, E, K, so you need to check the serum level, serum blood level. So only with the symptoms, you cannot say the patient that you need vitamin D supplementation, that is 60 KIU weekly once, and for this you cannot say. So this is the key very important message from my side, that everything need to be diagnosed, then the treatment should go on. And what our participants was telling, I think Ankita was telling, that nothing to get nervous. So everything there is a treatment, so we can overcome. Even we are getting rid of this pandemic situation, and in the beginning they were discussing about the ricket. Ricket was a pandemic, and if it can be get ridden, so obviously we can get rid of this current situation. So we human beings are powerful. We are very much if we have that dedications and confidence, so we can get rid of anything, any problem in our life. So any question regarding the presentation or regarding vitamin D, if you have, you can ask. There are many comments coming in the chat box. So obviously I will share this with you, and also requesting you, all of you, to share the feedback. Yes, show me, you have any question, or you do want to share in your feedback? How is the presentation? Show me, Deb. Okay, so no more question. Should we leave? Yes, thank you. So Suparna, there are no more questions. Yes, Indrani.
It was a very informative session. Everyone explained their individual portions so well. Especially thank to Suparna, Pallavi, Nandini, and all the team members. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you, Indrani, for your such
beautiful compliments.
Compliment. Yes, we always want some comments from you. So thank you, Indrani, for giving this, sharing this comment with you. And Indrani was also working hard for her team, and her team is also very good team, very cooperating team. So along with Indrani, Shoheli and Tania Kormakar will present about the DHA. I can find Shinchita is also present today apart from her illness. So many people are now suffering from COVID and still they are present. So as you all are the background student of nutrition, so you should take care of yourself, like how Bidha fought with COVID, how Pritha did finally fought with COVID. So these are the examples. So you have to take care of your own nutrition, you have to take care of your family, you have to take care of the society also. So whatever you can contribute for the society, family, friends, it will be a great contribution from your side. Your knowledge may be your contribution. So spread as much knowledge as you can. And thank you, everyone. Good night.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, ma'am. Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.